welcome to my newest VeVe video. Today we're going to be talking about the top 10 Marvel comics to be watching for on VeVe. These are the top 10 biggest comics that could be coming to VeVe right now, any day. These could be announced tomorrow, these could be announced next week. These are the top 10 comics to be watching for on VeVe. Let's start this list off with the first appearance of one of the most important characters in comic books. Number 10 is Fantastic Four number 52, the first appearance of the Black Panther, the first African superhero in comics, and undoubtedly one of Jack Kirby's most important creations in comics. One of Jack Kirby's most favorite characters. Yeah, Fantastic Four number 52, first appearance of the Black Panther. Number 9, Uncanny X-Men 266, the first appearance of Gambit. There is no doubt Gambit is one of the most popular X-Men since his introduction. He has constantly been one of the top X-Men since his first introduction to the comics, which was Uncanny X-Men 266. We're getting this one this year, almost guaranteed. Number 8, Strange Tales 110. The first appearance of Doctor Strange. No spoilers here, but ever since Spider-Man No Way Home, Avengers Endgame, actually, then Spider-Man No Way Home, and now coming into Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange is becoming like the centerpiece of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The new movie's coming out a little later this year, and we'll be getting the first appearance of Doctor Strange, which was Strange Tales 110. Number 7, Tales of Suspense 39. Actually surprised we have not got this one yet. It's the first appearance of Iron Man. Also the first appearance of Pepper Potts and Happy Hogan, I believe. It's the first appearance of Iron Man. Yeah, surprised we haven't gotten it yet. I don't know why we don't have this book on there yet. I know he's no longer part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but he was the Marvel Cinematic Universe for a lot of the fans growing up during the start of those movies. Iron Man was their hero. So keep an eye out for the first appearance of Iron Man. He may not be in the movies anymore, but he will always be a beloved character thanks to those movies and Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal. I think those movies did more for that character than the years that he's been published in the comics. But yeah, Tales of Suspense 39. It's number 7. This next one is the start of probably the most famous storyline from Jack Kirby and Stan Lee's years of collaboration together. They had many memorable storylines, but this one I think stood above all of them. It was called the Galactus Trilogy. Watch out for the first issue of the Galactus Trilogy, Fantastic Four number 48, which features the first appearance of Galactus and the first appearance of the Silver Surfer. This is the iconic Lee Kirby storyline. Keep an eye out for this one. You do not want to miss the coming of Galactus. And if you follow the rumors and speculation with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they're building up to Galactus being the big bad. His first appearance of Fantastic Four, number 48. Number 5. This is a big one. This is a big one. Another one I'm surprised we don't have yet. Definitely top 5 most iconic comic book covers ever. Captain America, number 1. Steve Rogers punching Hitler in the face and knocking him out. Iconic. Talk about iconic. Galactus Trilogy is the iconic storyline from Marvel Comics. Captain America number 1 is the iconic cover. Now this one, you're going to want the original cover. Number 5, Captain America number 1. Number 4, Uncanny X-Men number 1. First appearance of Cyclops. First appearance of Jean Grey. First appearance of the Beast. First appearance of Iceman. First appearance of Angel. First appearance of Professor Xavier. First appearance of Magneto. The X-Men have not been introduced into the MCU yet, but when they will, you can bet a big combination of those characters will be part of the team. And this will be the book to have. Uncanny X-Men #1. Not the most important X-Men book to have, but one of the most important X-Men. The second most important X-Men book to have is Uncanny X-Men #1. #3. I'm going to shock you all with this one. This is probably the one you're all sitting there waiting for to be #1 on this list, and it's #3. Let's just go ahead and do it. Amazing Fantasy #15, the first appearance of Spider-Man. Everybody's like, how the hell is that only #3? How is that not #1? I'll explain a little bit, but yeah, this one, when this one hits, it's going to be big. It's going to be big. The first appearance of Spider-Man. You don't need to say anything else. It's the first appearance of Spider-Man. Steve Ditko, Stan Lee. Amazing Fantasy 15. That's #3. #2. Giant Size X-Men #1. First appearance of Storm. First appearance of Colossus. First appearance of Nightcrawler. First appearance of Thunderbird. Second appearance of Wolverine. Second full appearance of Wolverine. Giant Size X-Men #1. It was the revitalization of the X-Men. The X-Men had been canceled. People stopped reading that book. It just wasn't one of the popular Marvel comics. Back in the late 60s, early 70s, people weren't into the X-Men. It was not a comic for the mainstream appeal, so it didn't sell very well. So it got canceled. And they reintroduced a new team of X-Men, and that was in Giant Size X-Men #1. And that started the modern day of the X-Men. The most sold comic book in history, the highest selling comic book in history, was in 1991, and it was X-Men #1. X-Men was the highest selling comic book of all time. And Giant Size X-Men #1 introduced the team that most people know and love now. It started, Chris Claremont did not write that, but it led directly into Chris Claremont's era writing the X-Men, which lasted for 17 years. And he wrote the iconic storylines that most people remember. And Giant Size X-Men was the team that was created that he wrote all his stories with. Giant Size X-Men #1. That is the second most important comic that still needs to come to VeVe. So what is the most important comic that has not hit VeVe yet that still needs to come to VeVe? I alluded to it in another video. It's hanging up here. Don't get excited. This is a facsimile edition. This is not the real thing. This is just to hang on my wall because it's cool and I love it. And I will one day replace this with the real thing. Not a 9.8 of the real thing, but the most important comic that still has not come to VeVe yet. The Incredible Hulk 181. Why The Incredible Hulk 181? Why is this the most important comic to have not hit VeVe? It's the first appearance of Wolverine. When the X-Men hit the MCU, Wolverine is going to make every other superhero they've had look like nothing. The popularity Wolverine is going to have is going to dwarf, I would say it will dwarf Batman. Once Marvel is behind it and pushing it, and it is Marvel's Wolverine, sky's the limit with that character. He has the most potential. I put him above Amazing Fantasy 15 for simple reasons. Spider-Man has played this course. The hype for Spider-Man is at its peak right now. It's not going to get any higher than this. Maybe if they introduce Miles Morales, but then the excitement's going to shift over to something like Ultimate Fallout 4. Wolverine hasn't been introduced yet. And Wolverine, with Marvel behind him, we saw how popular Wolverine was with Hugh Jackman playing him, without the hype machine of Marvel pushing it also. You get Marvel 100% behind their Wolverine in their universe, he's going to appear in multiple movies. He'll probably appear in series. He'll be everywhere. Think Iron Man times 10. Wolverine will be everywhere. Wolverine has connections with almost every character in the Marvel universe, so there's It's not a stretch to put him anywhere. The actor they get to play Wolverine is going to be very busy. And that character, the sky is the limit. And Hulk 181 is the most important comic book to be watching for on VeVe. Period. The only character that I think will rival Wolverine in the future Marvel MCU and for the future popularity of the Marvel Universe is Doctor Doom. That's what I believe are the 10 most important Marvel comics to be watching for on VeVe. When these comics hit, these are must buys when these hit. Keep an eye out for all of those.